Let's talk a few minutes about the sin of labels. Now, labels in and of itself aren't bad. Behind me, you see books, and that's how we know they're books because we labeled them books. But I'm talking about the sin of labeling people that keeps you from loving them. When you say that you're superior and they're inferior, when you say that God favors you and doesn't favor them based on behaviors that you have observed, when you think God doesn't gives you grace and God doesn't give them grace based on behaviors that you see, when you say that God doesn't give them mercy and God doesn't give them forgiveness and God doesn't treat them good based on the label that you have put on them, and you say, well, God gives these things to me because I have a different label. That is the sin of labels. Sin just simply means miss the mark. And what is the mark that all of us are trying to obtain? It is the mark of loving each other, loving God, loving ourselves, and loving each other. I'll say that again. The mark that all of us are trying to obtain if we are followers of Jesus Christ, believe in God, God is love. Well, the mark is that all of us need to hit is that to love God, love ourselves, and to love others. And what is sin? Sin is when we miss the mark of love. And one of the ways that we do that, one of the big ways, is that we put labels because are to show difference. Just like you can see behind me, you see a picture, you see books, there's a laptop behind me. All of those labels are there to show difference. But when you look at human beings and you put labels on them to show difference, to determine their value to God or their value to you as a human being, that label that you've put on them has become a sin for you because you're now missing the mark of love. And in our homes, heaven help us, when we begin to label each other as husband and wives, and we put these negative labels on each other, when we put these negative labels on our children, our friends, our family, another human being, that's a negative label, and it keeps you from honoring them. It keeps you from respecting them. It keeps you from speaking well of them. Then you have taken that label, and that label has become a sin in your life. Why? Because you can no longer love that person. You can no longer respect that person. So get rid of the labels. The labels, when we label other human beings with negative labels, forgive them, speak well of them, honor them, do the best you can, because any label that you label them, that puts them beneath you, that make them less than you, that makes them inferior to you, you are now put yourself in a position that you can't love them because of the label that you gave them.